Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Paint Party Livestream. Happy New Year to you. We are kicking off a new year after several weeks kind of off because of the holidays, but I'm so glad to be back in the studio with you. It's great to be here and be in a new year, and I'm excited tonight because we are going to start something brand new. For those of you who've been here before, I think this is episode 124 of the live stream. So that means we've been doing this a little over 2 years worth of weeks. This is my Learn to Paint journey. About 3 years ago, I started teaching myself to paint using YouTube tutorials. And so every week I meet you here and invite you to join my journey. Every week, typically we started a new painting. As we've been going, we have been finishing up some of the paintings that are laying around here in the studio. This afternoon I went, and I'll show you some of this, I kind of organized the studio, and I have a pile over here on the floor of paintings that I want to keep working on, and a pile that I want to probably about 12 to 15 that I want to keep working on, and then about 20 that I want to paint over and reuse the panel or the canvas. So we'll be doing that. But I've been saying for a long time that I want to transition to oils. And so the last couple of weeks I've been down to Rapid City several times. I've restocked my studio with a complete different set of tools. I have different brushes as well as new paints for oils, and this afternoon I put brush to panel for the very first time. I'll show you what I forgot. I'm learning oil dries a lot slower than acrylic, so I started painting just a little sketch of the path that goes here near Spearfish Falls, and so I felt like I am learning all over again. But tonight we're gonna dive right in and see what we can do. It will be just like the first painting, figuring out how to work with this brand new medium. So I'm excited because it will be something a little different, but I'm excited to join you all. You can participate in the live stream by commenting on any of the platforms that you are watching on. We are simulcasting. YouTube is the primary, but I think also LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitch. So feel free to comment in the comments. If you have questions, feel free to ask those or make comments as we go along, make suggestions. I love interacting with you as we go through the evening. So let's jump in. Again, Happy New Year, everybody. I hope it's off to a good start for you. There are some differences with oils, so I did tone this panel with acrylic. So I did a quick coat of some burnt umber and white acrylic. That will give us a toned base, but it dries a lot faster, so that's why I did that for what we're gonna do this evening. And then to explain kind of what I've been watching a few videos recently, and I watched one, it's kind of like an art school. They have different artists come in and talk about specific areas. And one of the things that I am playing with, in addition to changing the medium I'm working with, is the techniques as well as the subject matter. So you'll know that I am interested in doing a collection of paintings over the next year, specifically of the Black Hills, and that's what we're going to do tonight. This is not one that I will include in the collection, but it's just a sketch I wanted to do just to get used to the medium. But I'm also working with more gestural. I want to work on more gestural type technique, a little more loose, a little more maybe even a little more impressionistic, abstractish, not really abstract, but in the types of brush strokes. One of the things I want to work on also is developing intention with the number of brush strokes I use as well as the type of brush strokes. So those are, excuse me, all things that I'm thinking about as I go. So let's jump right in. Welcome to those of you who are joining us. Let me switch you over to this camera, and I will get my settings set here so that I can show you the canvas. All right, let's lower this, and then I will put up the reference photo I am looking at so that you can see that as well. I think this is going to be good. There, we'll go right there. Let me put this. This is where my palette is. I already have my paints. I got this little, it's called Box and Paint. And it is a really cool little device that has, it's a plastic device, but it has all of the paints, not all of the paints, but it allows me to keep my paints in order. It also covers so I can put them in the freezer if I don't paint for a couple of days, and they will stay dry. I did buy an acrylic palette, which you can tell I've been working on. Not a paint acrylic, but this is acrylic. But I will probably be getting a glass palette. I'll probably make that myself and update the setting or the system I have here. But let me show you. Let me switch back to this. Let me show you just some of the organization I have done. You'll forgive my pivoting, and please excuse the mess in the back of my attic. But I have organized kind of my workstation here. Those are all my acrylic paints. I have way too many, especially now if I'm not using them. They'll last for 20 years probably. But then here's all my oils kind of in order, warmer to cooler, white on the end, and then some of the other things that I need. So that's what I was busy working on this afternoon, just so you can kind of see how my world is laid out here. The other thing that I want to make you aware of, you all, is that I am planning to do a studio sale. So all of these paintings, you see them on the wall behind, and then I have dozens around on the walls in my house and in the studio. And I love them, and they remind me of all of the stages of the painting I have done to get to this point, but I need to make space. So I saw somebody on YouTube who did a studio sale just to kind of clear excess inventory she had in the studio. And so I think I am going to begin to do the same thing. Or I'm going to do the same thing, especially because a lot of the paintings that I have done over the last couple of years were not particularly important. They were to learn a specific thing. They were not part of a collection, and so but I will let you know when I do those. So if you are interested in any of the paintings I have, they're all random subjects. I'm going to try to kind of put them in sort of collections. Like I think I have 8 or 10 animal paintings, so I'll do those. I'll do my landscapes. I'll do my kind of still life style paintings. And then I have a bunch down in my kitchen that are like different types of fruits and flowers and things like that. So I'll try to kind of put them in groups, but I'll put up a website on my, or a page on my website to so you can take a look. But that will be coming down the pipe as well. All right, I am going to, because I'm working with oils, I am going to put on some latex gloves just to keep this stuff off my skin, I am using odor-free mineral spirits to clear my, oh, these are latex-free. That's good. But they look like latex gloves, but they're latex-free. I guess that's not a bad thing. And then I'm using odor-free mineral spirits, but because I'm working with oils, I did notice it was giving me a little bit of a discomfort earlier, so I have my fan running, but I opened the windows, which at 20 degrees, fortunately there's no breeze outside, so it's not rushing in, but it gives me a little fresh air. And because you all can't see me, I am going to wear a little N95 mask just to kind of keep from, so I may sound a little bit muffled. If so, I apologize. There went the mask. So if I suddenly sound a little muffled, that is the reason. All right. Let me show you what we're going to work on. This is, let me expand this. This is an image from Spearfish Canyon right outside of Lead, where I live. So what I want to do, I think, is, again, work with some of the gestural. So I want to get, I have some, and I'll start to introduce some of these new products I'm using. So I have this, which is called Liquin Original. This is a mixing medium that helps the oil paints to spread more easily, and it does, and it causes the paint to dry more quickly. It is noxious, so I'm going to use a very little bit, and I'm going to then clear the, put the lid back on, put it way over there. All right, now what we want to do, I have my paints laid out here so you can kind of see. I have cad yellow, cad red, alizarin crimson, burnt umber, ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, cobalt blue, phthalo green, sap green, or vermilion, sap green, and white. So I kind of have warms to cools. And so what I want to do, I think first, is I am painting most of the time now with flat brushes, because you can, and these are kind of I think a synthetic, I think, but they're pretty firm, and I can do gestural big strokes, but also I can get a line because of that edge. I also have some dagger brushes, which are these ones that look like their name. They have a little dagger on the end. And then I have rounds and liner brushes. So keeping it pretty simple. And then I have dry brushes for blending. Okay, so let's dive in. What I think I want to do is I want to take a little bit of burnt umber. I'll take a little liquid here, and we'll just mix this in. I don't know if you can tell, but the burnt umber is really firm, and then you put a little liquid and it helps it just really spread. We want to do One of the techniques, I don't want to use a lot of liquid. I probably use too much. But we always want to, with oils, we always want to be thinking about thick over thin. So we want the thinnest layers on the bottom of the painting, and then we want to paint thicker layers on top. That's why we use these mixing mediums to thin or a thinner to help the paint spread. Because if we do thin underneath and then the thick on top, it will dry, number one, dry faster, but also it will not crack as the painting dries. If we do thin over thick, then we end up cracking the paint because the top layer dries faster than the bottom layer. So, all right, what we want to do is kind of start to put in our dark spots. This being the trees, and I'm going to use the tone underneath to indicate parts of and I'm just exploring this. The use of this. Then down here there's a I'm just sketching in, similar to how we did with acrylics. Everyone's quiet tonight. Makes me wonder if my comments are coming through. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of this, mix a little, not sure. one of the other rules we want to keep in mind is that thin over thick, light over dark. So it's always easier to go lighter. It's nearly impossible to go dark. So I want this to be my main focal point and this to be my everything else pointing to that. So all right, now we want to go, let's see if we can take some ultramarine blue with our okay. Hey there, Happy New Year to you as well. Oh, these are really tiny. Sorry about that, y'all. So good to see you. Yes, I have finally switched over. This is the this afternoon I did a little bit. I experimented a little bit, but this is literally the first painting that I've done with oils, and I am feeling like a fish out of water, but also recognizing that's part of the process. And now you'll see this over here where I'm cleaning my brushes. It's actually the odorless mineral spirits, so that helps me clean the brush. And then I use a shop towel, paper towel in here to wipe that off on my brush. So I use really just 2 or 3 brushes, and that allows me to do what I need to do. Okay. Can't believe your eyes. I am not believing my eyes either. I don't know what I'm doing. We're going to figure it out, though, together. Okay, I am going to break in a new brush. This is a 14, so it's pretty big. It's probably 3/4 to an inch brush. It's a big brush, but it will keep us. And I think what I want to do is block in. If I can get the block in done, then we can let it dry overnight, and then I can come back in and model some of these things. But yeah, this won't, it'll take several hours to dry. So I'm not doing wet on wet or a la prima. That is not necessarily the style that I want to go in. Although some of those techniques I'm sure I'll be using. But let's see. I learned something. I wonder, actually. I learned something recently about skies, because we typically do the blue, and even in our reference photo, you see the blue. It's a little brighter down here. It's a little lighter because it's closer to the ground and the atmosphere is thicker than up here where it's really bright azure. But I learned something recently which I want to try. If we're trying a new medium, might as well try new everything, right? And it was a technique where someone took kind of a greenish blue, and I'm just mixing this together. What this should do is give us a really interesting, light. Ooh, I want to take all that liquid. I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. We'll just figure it out as we go. I'm mixing kind of a reddish. I need to watch the video I watched again. But basically, it was a instead of doing blue, we'll do kind of this magenta color. It looks really brown, doesn't it? This will look very strange. And it may not work at all. In fact, it may ruin the whole thing, but we'll see. We'll take some green. I'll learn if this doesn't work, then I'll be like, nope, that doesn't work. What this should do is basically, this will be yet alla prima, or wet on wet. And what it does is then it allows us to create a more dynamic sky. And I have a feeling this is too dark, but we'll see. We'll keep playing with this until we get it right, and then this will allow me to perfect my technique as well for when I want certain techniques. Because if you just go in blue, what we're doing is just getting a blue sky. But if we go in with not only different values, meaning lights and darks, but also different temperatures of color, then you get a vibrant sky. So that's the theory behind it, or that's the technique. So, hey there, Bob G, thank you. It feels good to be back at the easel. It also feels good to be exploring something I know nothing about, which are these oils, learning something totally new. Got to take advantage of it, having these windows open. In a couple days, we're going to get an Arctic front. And I think this weekend, one of the days, Sunday maybe, Saturday, they're forecasting that our high temperature will be -8 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's going to be really cold. I plan to stay indoors, y'all. I plan to stay indoors. Okay. This, because I used it earlier, is full. And I don't think I want to mix on top of that. But I do want to take some of this, I think. Some of this. Mix some liquid in. And I do want to begin, because all of this will be reflected in the water. So let's put that in the water. Because we're looking this way, the major reflection is going to be this. We're going to get very little direct sky. If we were looking down on the water, we would get the reflection more of the water, or of the blue in the sky. So let me take, again, I'm learning or figuring this out as we go, because I don't know exactly what I'm doing. So you will lovingly provide me lots of grace to figure this out. As I create all kinds of muddy messes. I think I'm going to have to come back and I'm just too used to acrylics and being able to paint over everything. So I'm going to have to learn to work on that. Yes, I am wearing an N95 mask, which I know doesn't, it's not like a respirator, but that's probably, if I sound like I'm a little more muffled, that's probably why. I have my windows open and my fan going, but I want to be as... Now, I think what's going to happen with this sky, let me try it. I don't know, but I think it's going to just turn green and muddy, and that's not what I want. So let me put a little this red in there to preemptively cut the green in the mud. We'll learn. We'll learn, won't we? We'll learn. Yep. There's too much brown in this. I'll probably have to just wait and let it dry and then paint over it. But it was an experiment that didn't work. But we learned. Ooh, I almost went into my water because I have water sitting here. Let me not do that. Let me wonder if we take some red, mix with our blue, because red is the opposite of green. And since this is looking a little green, wonder if we can take some red in it and cut. Now it's looking a little more so let's just see. All right, well, we got a muddy mess for the sky, but we'll fix it tomorrow or the next day. We'll let this kind of dry a little bit. It will have some interesting undertones in it, though. I could scrape it off. Thanks so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. Hope to see you again. That's true. I forgot with oils. So let's see what would happen if we just scrape all this paint off. That's another thing. I can just... There's no reason why. See, I need smart people like that on my live stream to tell me what I'm doing wrong and how to fix it. And we can see if we can There we go, look at that. The thing is ultra toned. All right. Boom. How special is that? Used an extra Hello to those of you who are here that have joined in the last few minutes. Yes, this is a complete mess, and I don't know exactly what I'm doing. But I want to we'll take some of that out too, because that's not really the color we want there. Okay, now it almost looks like that mountain is in the mist, doesn't it? Okay, now let's see if we can do, although I'm going to take and set this aside, let it dry, and then scrape it off later. And I will use the good old-fashioned, oh. Okay, let's see what we can do with our sky. So we'll come back to the blue. Let's take a little bit of our this is our cerulean blue, maybe a little white. mix a little bit of this in to give us more of a gray hue. And we're going to come down in here. All right, enough dinking around. You can't really tell there the difference, but there we go. We at least have a blue sky. I didn't even think of, oh, I can scrape the oil paint off and go again. On the bottom of this jar, right here where the mineral spirits are, there is a little, I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a grate in the bottom of it. This allows me to move the brush basically like I'm painting on the bottom of the grate. I don't press down on the bristles because that can ruin the bristles, but I paint like this across them to allow the mineral spirits to move the, or to remove the oil. And then when I'm done, what I will do, that would be good enough, but I am so used to cleaning my brushes every single time I use them that I will then clean these either with Dawn dish detergent, or I have this other product I haven't used. It's a brush cleaner and conditioner. And you condition the brush bristles overnight, and then they will stay soft. So learning little tricks and tips, y'all, little tricks and tips. Okay, now we want to block in. See, I didn't do dark enough in my darks, and I don't know that I want to mess with it. I'm not sure that I want to mess with it right now. So I think I'm just going to continue to block in the green. A little yellow. Just take a little liquid. Took too much brown. Okay. I'm gonna learn, y'all. I'm gonna learn. Little by little. Little by little. Okay. Again, this is block end, so I just want to do some want to do this as kind of a this dark I am changing from the reference. One of the things that I've learned in art is the reference is to give you a reference. The artist's job is to paint the best painting they can. So I'm not necessarily, I think, going to paint exactly what I see here because I want this to be the focal point. So I think I am going to make this light with the trees and the and then this will be like darker, and then the treetops along the tree line. So this will almost be like a darker then I'll let it dry and I'll come in and put my line in. But I think what I'm going to do is take this, is it yellow? Is that what we get? Is that how we get that? Red, nope. That's pink. How do we get that? I don't know how we get that. I don't know what makes that. We're going to do this though, because knowing that our it's always easier to go in and do lights. Okay, notice what I'm doing with these lighter pieces or lighter spots. I'm just making, again, just blocking in. Where some of these spots will be. All right. What do you think? What do you think? All right, now we kind of get some of the form. Yeah, this is going to take a little bit of getting used to, y'all. Having a medium that doesn't dry as fast as what I'm used to. But I can see the appeal once you start to get used to it. We'll just take maybe 100 more episodes, and then I'll be as skilled here as I am with acrylic. All right, well, we have the basic form, which I think is good for a block in. I'm going to come in and do darker here because I want this to really stand out. So I'm going to do this part dark as opposed to like that light green. I'm not going to, because that light is so harsh. It was in the afternoon coming over the shoulder there, and this will all be kind of so that it's as if the sun is just hitting these specific marks. So let me play around a little bit. Since light, we can go light over dark. Whoops. That red went really light. I want to figure out what color combination I need to take this burnt umber and turn it into that kind of yellow light that we see on the mountains around here, because I can't lighten it with, I mean I can, which is what I have done, with white, but that just dulls it out, basically makes it dull. I want to figure out how to make the canyons around here just really pop. And I'm not sure, because the cad yellow is too yellow. And I wonder if I take a little yellow, purple, yellow. Maybe the magenta will dull down the yellow a little bit. I am not sure. Maybe that's it. Oh, that might be it. The magenta, yellow, the little magenta. All right, I see you. Because yellow is opposite purple on the color wheel. So okay, I think that's it. Or at least one of the tricks. Yeah, look how much that pops. How much more. Now I'm gonna have to let this sit. Because I'm losing my darks. like the beginning, every single time I put paint brush to canvas, I learned something. So that's really beneficial. Okay. So I've lost my darks there, which is okay, but I'm going to have to come back to them once this dries up a little bit. And once it tacks up a little bit, then I can come in and do darks more. And that's just something I'm going to have to get used to, which I know, but with acrylics you can just paint over pretty easily. So we shall see. But I think it's looking pretty nice so far. And we'll do layers on layers. Okay, I think we're gonna wind down early tonight just because I don't know what else I can do that will actually help us. And I can't just wait 10 minutes and, you know, have this dry so I can try something else. So that's gonna, eventually I will get where I know what I'm doing better, and so I won't have those problems. But right now, I'm not gonna just keep overpainting it just cause. All right, we'll clean up some of this stuff, but I want to say thank you for joining me. Oh, let me show you. So one of the other things I'm doing with some of the paintings that I'm going to paint over, or my early paintings, I'm going back on top of the acrylic and trying to revise them based with oil, which you can do oil on top of acrylic. You can't do acrylic on top of oil. So this was one of the very earliest paintings. Oh, let me pull you back a little bit. One of the earliest paintings that I did when I first started. And so I, this afternoon, messed around. Now it looks like a giant fire Christmas tree. So I need to revise some of that and put some of these darks in, but it shows, you can see like how much more vibrant the oils are on top of the acrylic. So that's kind of fun, and that gives me the opportunity to continue to learn and to play with this medium a little bit without having to start from scratch. So the main painting was done, I just am revising. So I have a stack of those paintings that I'll use kind of as little workshop pieces just for fun. But anywho, yeah, that's the deal tonight. Thank you for those of you who showed up after this long break in the new year. Let me put you back here. All right, I'll take this off. I think it helps a little bit. Take these gloves off. And then the other thing I have to get used to is these paper towels that I've been using with the mineral spirits. Extremely flammable, and the more they're oxidized, they produce heat. So you don't want to just take this and throw it into a trash can. So I think I'm going to douse them in water and then dispose of them. But yeah, just there's a few little things you have to get used to with oil. Let me switch this around. But overall, I can already tell why, I can clearly see why people want to use oil over acrylic. And I understand why people, there are advantages to acrylic. Like, I enjoy it, the speed again of it, but it is what it is. All right, let me, whoops. Nope. I have too many camera angles, so let me take this down and say, okay, I guess there we are. Okay. All right. Well, I want to say thank you. I'm used to picking up the painting, but it is still wet on the easel, so I will just leave it there. This is as far as we got. It looks really blocky, which is what I wanted. It was just a block in. Really just getting used to trying to work with oils. But a lot of fun, something totally new, something I feel like complete novice again. I feel like I don't know anything to an extent. I know color mixing and stuff, that's helpful, and that's always the same, but the way the medium works. But I'm excited to continue to work with it, to continue to experiment, to continue to get experience, and to find ways of really maximizing the use of the oil paints. And then really, like I said, this year is diving into collection, focused collections of specific mediums, specific techniques, specific tools. So yeah, thanks so much for joining me. Those of you that stuck around the entire time, thanks. It's good to be with you again, and I will see you next Monday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, right here on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching from. So long, everyone. Have a great evening and a good week, and I'll see you next time.